I want to talk to you today about a topic we get asked a lot, and that's how to get started in beekeeping. And as long as you have three things, you can become a beekeeper too. Those three things are desire, means, and a location. If you have the desire to keep bees, the means to afford to keep bees, and a location to keep bees, you can be a beekeeper too, with success. I started beekeeping when I was 13 years old. I knew zero about beekeeping, didn't know any beekeepers. I watched Dr. Keith Delaplane's A Year in the Life of an Apiary on TV. I don't know what station it was on, and I was hooked. That sparked my desire, and my desires never stopped. It continues to grow to this day. I highly recommend you watch that. If I can find a link to it, it was on YouTube. I'll throw it in the description. But that's where my desire came from. Once my desire was sparked, I continued. I pestered my mom and dad. I was 13. I didn't have the money to buy a beehive, but I asked my mom and dad, and they thought, "No, you're not getting a beehive." So my uncle bought me my first beehive, but I didn't have bees. There was a beekeeper down the road from us. I saw his beehives out in the field, and I begged my mom to stop, but she didn't want to because we didn't know the guy. Finally, she gave in, and we stopped and talked to him. His name was Moon Mullins. He's passed away now, but he was very receptive to me wanting to keep bees, and he took me under his wing, and he took me to bee meetings, got me to join the bee associations, and really taught me how to keep bees. There's another gentleman, his name was Ken Henson. He's also passed away too. That was very instrumental in my becoming a beekeeper. That's a great thing to have as a mentor that really knows how to keep bees. Moon was a master beekeeper. Ken, I don't know if he was, but he'd been keeping bees nearly all his life. And to have two people of that caliber take you under the wing to show you how to keep bees it's pretty awesome, especially when you're just a kid. I don't see a lot of that anymore. A lot of beekeepers don't have time, to put it nicely, to take somebody on. I mean, it's a lot of work just to get the stuff you need to get done without having an apprentice beside of you. I'm not saying all of them do, but it would be hard even for us to take on an apprentice to teach them how to keep bees. But the knowledge is out there. Education is important. There's 3 books that I really recommend. I really enjoyed reading them. Actually, there's 4, but I don't have the other copy of that. The first one is First Lessons in Beekeeping by Dr. Delaplane from the University of Georgia. Great beginner's book. I really enjoyed reading it, and I still reread it. The next book I really like is Honeybee Biology and Beekeeping. Great book. It's kind of pricey, but it's well worth the read. It's by Dewey Karen and John Connor. So if you get a chance, pick these up. Also, How to Keep Bees and Sell Honey by Walter T. Kelly was a great book. It's on loan to a guy right now, so I don't have it to show you. Really good book. I enjoyed reading it a lot, and I learned a lot. My all-time favorite book, and I'm on my second read of it now, is The Hive and the Honeybee. It is probably the best beekeeping textbook there is, in my opinion, that you can read. And if you really want to know a lot about bees, the information's in here. So I really recommend those books. As far as getting started, as long as you've got the desire, and if you're watching this, I'm sure your desire has already been sparked. So the next thing is means. Beekeeping is expensive. There's no way around it. It costs money to keep bees. And as long as you can afford the initial startup cost, which is purchasing your bees or a nuke or a package, you can order them online, or you can get them from a local beekeeper. As long as you can afford that and your equipment, you're good. I'm not saying it's going to cost you tens of thousands of dollars. It can, depending on how much you want to grow. But I do recommend starting with 2 beehives, 2 colonies. That way you can kind of compare them and see what's going on. And this one, if this one's sick and this one's healthy, maybe you can fix this one from the other one, and so on. But that's for a later video. And location. You have to have a location to put your hives on. You need to check your county ordinances, or your town ordinances, or city ordinances, because everywhere it's different. And you need to make sure that you can have bees before you go out and spend all this money and put them on your property, and then find out you're not allowed to have bees, in your city or whatever. But don't despair. If that's the case, there's lots of people that will let you put your bees on their property that's outside of those ordinances and regulations. So don't despair if you can't physically have bees at your house. There's plenty of places to keep bees. And if you have those 3 things, you're golden as far as getting started in beekeeping. Now you'll need to purchase equipment, a beehive, frames, foundation, bee suits, a veil at a minimum, hive tool, and a smoker. And basically that's what you need to begin your journey in beekeeping. You're going to continue to grow. You're not going to need it all at once. And you can grow at your own pace. You can spend as much money as you want to, or the bare minimum cost of getting set up. Which, 2 colonies, roughly $1,000 to get started with everything you need for the year. In my opinion, that's kind of steep. That's expensive. That's a lot of money, especially in today's time. So you can start with 1, but it's better to start with 2. Or maybe you and a friend can go in together and you can get a hive and they can get a hive, and then you'll have those 2 to work out problems with if you have problems or problems come up. But don't despair. The biggest thing that new beekeepers don't understand is the education's out there. The internet's a wonderful thing. You have to be careful about what you watch. Local clubs are great. State associations are great. Join your local bee association. A lot of them have, training opportunities where you can become certified, a journeyman, or a master beekeeper. And those are really great. Do that. Right now is the perfect time. It's September. Our bee season is winding down. It's a perfect time for a new beginner to decide, I want to get bees. I want to have bees for the spring. Go ahead and join your local club. Most local clubs do a bee school in the late winter. Ours do it in January here, where you can actually learn how to work bees, and you come out of it with a little bit of knowledge instead of being green and not having a clue what to do when your bees arrive. Join those clubs. Support those clubs. State associations are great. YouTube is great. You just have to be mindful of who you watch on YouTube and realize that beekeeping is different in every location. It's not the same for me as it is someone in California or New York or Canada or overseas. It's all different. It's not the same. So educate yourself and know what will work in your area. Talk to beekeepers in your area, and it's pretty rewarding. You can learn a lot from a first-year beekeeper to a 30-year beekeeper. None of us know it all, and any beekeeper that tells you that, hey, I'll take you under my wing, I don't lose bees, ever, take it with a grain of salt, because you're going to lose bees too. And don't despair if you do lose bees, because there's other people that will sell you bees and get you started again. Your main financial obligation is in the bee equipment itself, the boxes, the suits. So if you do lose bees, don't despair on it. Move forward. Keep going. When I started, I lost bees every year and had to buy new, because I was young. I didn't really know bees as much as I thought I did, but I stuck with it. And now we run a little over around 100 hives. This is our Sideline operation, and we sell nukes and we sell honey every year, and it's pretty successful for us. I mean, we went from making very little money, keeping bees barely sustaining themselves, to our Sideline operation, and now we're making profit. So don't despair. You can keep bees too, just like the big guys that you see on YouTube. They're established, but they're keeping bees, and you can do it as well. Just be mindful of who you get your information from. I recommend Bob Benny, Kevin Reynolds, Ian Stepler, Kent Williams is great. Those guys, in my opinion, really know what they're talking about. Mike Berry, they're good, and they're not pushing their ways on you, but they have the experience to back up what they're telling you. A lot of people repeat what they think they know, or they've heard it, and sometimes it's just not true. But those guys really have been in the industry. They know what's working for them, and they're putting out good information. So check those guys out. When I started, I had mentors, but they died early on, unfortunately, and I was thrown to the wolves after that, and I made a lot of mistakes, and a lot of those mistakes could have been prevented had I got the education or watched more YouTube, which YouTube wasn't very popular then, but or if I would have sought the education that was out there. And I recommend getting a mentor if you can, to avoid the costly mistakes that I've made. If you can get a mentor, great. Get one that knows what they're doing and learn from them. It'll save you a lot of time and a lot of frustrations in the long run. It's basically, in my opinion, beekeeping is a game of numbers. You have to learn to take one beehive and make 3 or 4 out of it if you want to be successful. And that's easy to do. Don't think it's something complicated or it's rocket science, because it's not. If I can do it, you can do it. And don't give up. Continue to push forward, even through the hard times, the bad times. You're going to lose bees. I lose bees. The professionals lose bees. So don't despair on bees, because people can get you started with bees again. The main thing I want you to take away from this video is desire, means, and location. That's the fundamentals. That's what you have to start. And as long as you have those things and you start and you continue with your desire and your learning, you will be successful too. I'm not saying you won't lose bees. I'm not saying you won't be frustrated, because you will. I still get frustrated. I made some splits late August or middle August, and I've lost 5 of them out of 10 just recently. It's my fault. I was trying to push the bees harder than they could go, and deep down I probably knew better, but I learned from it, so I won't be making the small 3-frame splits in August again. Little things like that you learn from, that you can learn from other people, that will save you headaches and wasted funds, and you'll just have less frustration. We started with one colony, I started with one colony 25 years ago, and have kept bees throughout that period. In 2018, I decided to take our hobby to a sideline operation, and from 2018 to now, we have roughly 100 hives, production hives, not nukes. And with those 100 production hives, we split them in the spring, and we sell nukes from those, and we also sell honey, as you can see. Some of our honey from this year, it's good stuff. We sell a lot of it, and you can too as a beekeeper. You just have to get started and take that first step. If you never take that first step, you're not going to learn anything. So don't waste any more time. Start getting enrolled into a bee school if you can find it, a bee club. Your county extension agent should be able to help you find one. Start learning, because you're going to need to order your bees around January 1st. You can order bees January 1st to put in your hives, and this fall and winter is a perfect time for you to get set up, get your equipment, get it built, get it ordered, and get your journey of beekeeping started. So if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. I'll be happy to answer anything. If you have any advice, let us know. Thanks for watching, and take care.